And a jolly good morning to you. I'm going to start a walk today on this beautiful, crisp spring Sunday morning in the town of Bedford, with a walk up the Great River Ouse. From here, the County Bridge, which is on Prebend Street, Bedford, and just near to the council offices, county council offices just over there, and take a walk all the way up through the centre of Bedford, and before we leave the town, cross over the footbridge called Butterfly Bridge, and then back along to this position on the other side of the river. It takes roughly about an hour. It's a gentle walk, it's flat of course, it's next to the river, so let's go. The River Great Ouse is quite a very slow, meandering river, and one of the longest rivers in England. It eventually spills out into the Wash in the North Sea in Norfolk, after going through places such as St Neots, Huntingdon, and plenty more along the way. It really is a stunning morning today. It's freezing at about 8 o'clock this morning. It's around about 5 Celsius now, and it's 10 o'clock. As I say, it's a Sunday morning, so most people about are just ambling around, come out for a morning walk, pop for a coffee, and then just enjoy the sunshine. What you will see a lot of here in Bedford, particularly at the weekends, is rowing. There are a number of rowing clubs. We shall pass along the way. We'll also pass a lot of swans. A few of these guys too. First rowing club there is the Star Club, which has been there as long as I can remember. What I do like about the walk along the river in Bedford in particular is that once you get away from the bridges, you are mostly quite a distance from any traffic, so it tends to be fairly peaceful and quiet, and particularly so on the south side of the river over there. This area here has got a load of new apartments, restaurants and such like. It used to be, I seem to think there was a B-Jams here at one time, and a less than salubrious car park. That's a long time ago, I can't really remember. It might have become an Iceland, and generally speaking it wasn't particularly pleasant. It's been smartened up around here now, with a few well-known name restaurants and so on. There's also been a few footbridges put in over the years just to make it easier to get back and across to the south side, or south to north, instead of going along to the vehicle bridges, which are more distantly spaced. This particular part of the river, this walkway next to the river, is called the Queen's Walk. Just as we go back over here towards the back side of the courts comes Charter Walk. Despite the fact there is still a bit of a nip in the air, a lot of people actually sat out here at this cafe, which is nice to see. Charter Walk, and we're in fact walking behind the back of the county court, Magistrates courts. Over in there. This point on the north side, you have to actually leave the riverbank pathway and cross over the road. The bridge here is the Bedford town bridge, and like a lot of towns, they've got a river going through the middle of it. Some of these old bridges just can't cope with the current level of traffic quite the same as if they'd been built more recently, so Bedford does have a bit of a problem with traffic, particularly in the week and in the rush hour, with people trying to get from one side of the river to the other in cars. It's a nice old bridge all the same. This is where you need to cross over the A600, and up there is Bedford High Street. This bridge does get particularly busy during the busier times of day during the week. It's fairly quiet this morning, it's a Sunday, as I say. Now just approaching the Swan Hotel. It's quite a traditional, old-fashioned type of hotel. It's been here for a very long time, and it's probably, generally speaking, more preferable than some of the more modern types of hotel, one of which is just over there on the other side of the river. And there's another rowing club. This is the only part of the walk really where you're particularly close to the road. Once we've moved along here just a little bit, then the embankment and the road separate, so it's a more leisurely walk alongside the trees there in the distance. It really is a lovely place to come for a walk, especially on a Sunday morning. See all the families out, kids feeding the swans and ducks and geese that live along here. I'd say the embankment footpath moves away from the road called the embankment at this point. So it tends to be a bit calmer and a bit more peaceful, and generally speaking a nicer place just to sit down and watch the world go by for a little while. Well, that's got to be the oldest and most old-fashioned looking dog waste dustbin I think I've ever seen. Maybe Maybe Bedford was there at the beginning when suddenly picking up your dog waste became the thing to do. Because when I was a kid, no one seemed to bother, but they certainly do now, or on the whole they do. Shame on you if you don't. And these guys are getting breakfast ahead. There's a fantastic boat ride you can do in Bedford on the John Bunyan community boat that's moored at the Brewery marina, which is way in the distance and further than I'm going to be walking today. But it runs boat trips up and down the Great Ouse through the middle of Bedford, and I think you can also hire it for private functions and so on and so forth. So that may be worth considering if you Google John Bunyan community boat. I know it has got its own website and details of when they run public trips, cost of tickets and whatever else you may need to know. But certainly worth consideration. I've not actually seen it coming up and down here for a while, so perhaps it only runs in the summer months. I don't really know, but the website will certainly say. But I certainly have seen it going up and down at the weekend during the summer, and usually with quite a lot of people on board. And I think there's a bar too, but don't quote me on that. This next footbridge that we come to is called the Bedford Suspension Bridge. The suspension bridges go, it's a fairly dinky affair and only for people on foot, I should say. Once again, it's not been there that long to my knowledge. I'm just trying to think when I was first put up on it. I think it was that long ago, and obviously aids getting across the river. I need to keep going back to the road bridges in either direction. Almost to the halfway point in the walk, we'll cross over the river and go back in the other direction. This is called Butterfly Bridge, and it's where I'm going to cross over today to head back down towards the county bridge and finish the walk. You can carry on for miles and miles and miles along the path, cycle or walk, certainly as far as Sandy, which is a good distance from here. And that's a walk for another day. It's a shame the birds have decided to visit this sign, because that is quite interesting. The bits you can read. Storms a couple of weeks back, big Atlantic storms that came in. I'm kind of assuming these trees bit the dust then. Fortuitously, it appeared to have turned into a children's playground now, so that's good. This side of the river's on the opposite side to the embankment's really nice actually. There's loads of open space. You can come down here with a picnic or just sit on the seats, watch the world go by and generally relax. It's probably a little bit too cool today for a picnic, but it's certainly a nice place to spend an hour or two and let the kids have a good run around. Houses over there on the other side of the embankment, or on the embankment I should say. There's a bandstand just here, and in all my years of walking around and coming to Bedford, I've never ever seen a band playing on the bandstand. I presume it does happen sometimes, and one day I'll come down here and it will be happening. Maybe. And we're now back to the Bedford town bridge. Where on this side of the river you can actually walk underneath it rather than go up and have to cross the road. So that's a definite bonus for walking on this side. I think if you're about 6'1" or 2 or above, then you would definitely need to duck walking under here. I can only just make it. Oh, I'm 5'11". And now we're on the south side of the river. We're going past the courts again there. One of the other footbridges that can take you back onto the north side of the river and the town centre. If you come to Bedford on a Sunday in particular, I believe the majority of the car parks at least are free to park in, which is a bonus. And where we started on Brewery Street, there's a car park just over the road from there, which is quite a convenient place to park. Do a nice little walk up from there, back through the town. Another alternative, of course, would be to cross over here, go straight up there into the centre of town where there's the usual array of shops and so on. And you can take a left turn in the town and just follow the road back down until you come to Brewery Street and take you back to the car park. But I have to say, coming back this way and back down the river would certainly be my choice. And you know, when you've come to the end of the walk, to that monstrosity of a building that the council use, which dispels any myth that the council spends all the money on it itself, because clearly they didn't in this case. They just bought the cheapest concrete possible and stuck that thing there. Pretty big eyesore on the landscape of Bedford, I've got to say. Never mind, if you avert your eyes and look in the other direction, it's a whole lot better going that way. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll be back with some more soon. We're back at County Bridge and Brewery Street.